Right, hi everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Today I am going to be building a Cleat holder for my new Rutland's 18G nailer. Still got a couple of bits to do, but most of all the wood's been cut up, ready for what I need, including a couple of little weird brackets. And I just need now to finish cutting out a couple of Dados, which are for the shelves internally for the nails and pins, and for the power cable. I will probably do those on the table saw. I haven't decided yet, but let's get on with it. What I'm doing now is marking out the recesses for the shelves on the inside of the main part of the holder. I think I will do these on the table saw. I think it's going to be safer for me to actually get the proper lines between the two of them rather than trying to do it with my circular saw. By the way, I've got my wood glue in my pocket because for some reason, I mean I'm using Evo stick, but I found that through the winter period it's really thick, and actually trying to get it out of the bottle is really difficult. So I'm trying to warm it up in my trouser pocket. I'm cutting the depths on both sides of these to 5mm, so it'll give me the choice of either gluing and pinning or just leaving it as a sliding shelf. I'll just have to see which way it goes. Probably for stability I might end up actually gluing them, but bearing in mind that I'm going to be gluing and pinning tops and bottoms as well, I shouldn't need to, but I have the option. Right. Any of you who know me even the slightest will know that I am a beginner. And it won't surprise you to know that those are the first Dados I've ever cut on a table saw. Narrow chisel. I don't know if I've got one, or at least got one that's of any use. I do have lots of old knackered ones that need some serious work on them. Not too bad. I was actually at a farmer's market this morning. I could have got myself a small chisel. There was one guy there who had loads and loads and loads of tools. That would have been clever if I'd have done that. Do you know what, I'm going to have to really, really cheat on this and use a screwdriver. God, that is a horrible cheat. Do you know what? In a previous life I was a quantity surveyor, and using a screwdriver to do a chisel's job compared to some of the stuff that I've seen some of the guys do on site is nothing. Well, there's definitely something for my shopping list. Smaller chisels. Right, let's make sure these shelves fit. A little bit loose, but that's not necessarily a problem. Right, I'm going to stop for a minute so I can think about what order I want to put this stuff together in, because I have to do it in a specific order to make sure that the outside part that holds the nailer in place gets the battens in place to hold the nailer in the right spot. Because if I put this part together first, I can't get those battens in, or well, no, I can't get those battens in, not securely anyway. And the one difficulty I've got is that this is the main body of how it will sit, and on this side is where the nailer will hang on the outside of the wood here. And I've marked up for where two brackets go. And I think the only way I can actually mark through to the other side is actually to drill through, which isn't really a problem, I don't think. But what I want to do is try and mark where the end points are for how the nail will sit on there. So I need something pointy. Actually, I'll just use a pencil, that'll do. I just need to know the two endpoints between where I can do the pins to hold it in place. Doing the outside part will be a lot more difficult. I think I'll probably have to get these in place first, and then I can figure out a way to get the other one in. Probably what I'll do is, once they're done, I can build the whole of the rest of it, and then I can dry fit the outside bracket in place. Then I can pull it out once I've marked it. That's what I'll do. Okay. The holes at the bottom here on the bottom bracket that I've got actually goes into the dado rail, which I didn't think about. So all I've done is just mark the line that's the centre of those brackets, so that I know that's the line that I'm going to be pinning on. Right, let's see if the hot pocket's actually made any use for that. Yes, it has. That's made it considerably easier. Okay. Ah, right. End grain. All the glue's being absorbed, that's why. Alright, let's try that again. They have gone in very well. Yep, they've gone on quite well. I am going to need to trim out this side with the jigsaw first, and I'm just going to make the hole really big actually, just to make it really easy for the cables to go through. Well, I should have done that first, because now I've put this bracket on I can't cut the line where I want it, but that's not too much of a problem. I can still cut it and still get a big enough size space for the cable to go through to the inside. So there, so where the cable at the back sits down here, the cable can go through that hole. I'm not going to clamp it too tight, so if I decide not to glue it and pin it on the shelves, I can still slide them. Just got to make sure it's square as I put it together. Right, so just on the bottom one, I'm going to glue this and pin it, mostly because, I mean, there's not going to be much weight at the bottom, so in theory it could just pin. That was my much better half. We went to we went to the farmer's market earlier. I bought a couple of treacle tarts for me, and she bought, I think it's just called a strawberry tart, but it's the one where you've got the mascarpone and other bits inside, and then half strawberry all mounted on top, and then a strawberry gel fills it over the top. Best one she's ever had. Right, I'm just going to do it this way because I'm going to try to see if it's as usable with my left hand. Yes, it's a little bit awkward for the angle, but in terms of actually usability, that's actually pretty good. Whoops, I'll need those again in a minute. Just do the top. Figured out why. Very silly. I was thinking it was on landscape. It's actually portrait. Fits perfectly well. So just going to make sure it's square. I'm going to glue these again, but I'm going to go extra on the glue because it's end grain on here. Having the glue in my pocket's made a huge difference. Didn't think it would be that helpful, but it really has. Now, one of my measurements I obviously did wrong at some point, because I cut this piece too short. It's not going to hurt the build. It's still going to be square, it's still going to be strong, and it's still going to do the job I need it to. Turns out I already had marked them up somehow. Right, so we're nearly there. I'm going to put the top on so that I can rough fit the side part, so I can mark this out, so I can glue and pin from the outside to give these extra strength. I will actually just check that this fits before I stick the top on. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mark this up now before I put the top on, just in case I have a total existence failure. Now, for some reason, it looks like I've cut one of them at a funny angle, which isn't ideal. I'm not sure how I've done that, because they're exactly the same size, because I used one as a template for the other, and that's square with that, so I don't know. Right, I'm going to do what all great creators do. I'm going to cheat. So what I've done is I've cut out a little rectangle of this kind of soft polyboard to put in the gap that I've created somehow. I really have no idea how I've done that, it's very confusing. The shelves do actually slide in and out, so probably what I'll do is I'll use a little bit of my Rutland's paste wax stuff to do the runners, and then I'll actually be able to pull them out, which is excellent. Okay, so right, I've marked up the sideboard. Now, I'm sure there's a much better way of doing this without leaving holes on the outside of my holder. If you happen to know, let me know in the comments, please. What I'll do is I will glue that on now, because it's light, because hopefully the surface won't melt. Gotta say, it is only about 6 or 7 degrees today, but having that in my pocket has made a world of difference. I hadn't realised how thick it was, or how much more fluid it could be if I warmed it up. theory, this should just fit in. Now, admittedly, this is my first full cleat holder project, I suppose you'd call it. So I'm fairly certain that the way I've got the cameras angled and the way I've actually built it, you've not necessarily seen everything. If you have watched this and you're still here, I would really like to hear from you and let me know what there is that I can do differently so you can see more and get better information from the videos. That would be really, really handy. I'll get the top and bottom ones in first, then I'll take the clamp off, and then I can do the back edge and the back line here. Just realised there's one more bit of gluing to do. Theory, there we go. Last thing left to do is to put the cleat on the back. Because of the size of it, probably it'll have two. One thing I've never done before is put two cleats on one holder. So I have no idea how to do that. So there we have it. One nail gun holder. Maybe a little bit on the chunky side, but for first go, yeah, not too bad. Right, now we're going to see if everything fits. I actually need to see whether or not my second cleat works actually. Oh, brilliant. It does. Yay!